That's my best Mrs. Doubtfire impersonation. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming back if you're new and old. So, today I'm going to be doing something on my channel that I have referred to in the past as a series called A Letter To. This particular letter is to Yungblud. Yungblud has recently released a song that I would like to give somewhat of a response and encouragement to, also known as Dominic Richard Harrison, and he is an English singer-songwriter, musician. So his most recent song I just want to start by saying I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for bringing that to people's attention and to discussing something that a lot of us, especially I've got healthcare experience, so especially something a lot of us know can be abused is when there's authoritarian figures, especially those that are meant to heal, it's that much worse. I mean, I won't compare, but the understanding of the situation, the mechanisms of power in a situation such as those, where it's a teacher, it's someone that's a doctor, it's somebody that's venerated for their proximity, usually to children. And I just want to say thank you so much for your voice. Thank you so much for your authenticity and really letting people hear what it is that I don't know if it was a personal experience of yours, but thank you. Just thank you. Just a blanket thank you. And so we will get into this song. Okay, this is the point of the video where I do a live reaction to the lyrics and discuss thematically what's going on as well as the contents. So this is his most recent song, Hated, which I would recommend going and giving a listen if you're in a space for that. So the intro is, oh my god, exclamation, what have I done? So this could be talking about the feeling of, or the thought process of whoever inflicted the upcoming, well, trigger warning, harm against the person speaking. Because like I said, I don't want to assume. So verse 1. Alright kid, how's life? About time that we spoke. Let's talk about the day when you were 7 years old. And so in that, it could be him going back and doing some shadow work, him going and having an understanding of what was happening at that moment for him. Because a lot of the times, if you experience a certain level of trauma, that you can start to forget. You can lose your memory around it. So him acknowledging the time that it happened for himself or someone else. And then the next line is, trigger warning, the doctor took your little out, put it straight down his throat. You never said a word to anybody. No one was told. Your mom was in the same room. She was dying to know why when the curtain opened up, you were white as a ghost. She's probably finding out now in the line to your show why you'll never trust a guy in a tie and a coat. So when we are violated in the way that he's discussing is happening to a child, and again is happening by the hands of someone who is likely being venerated for his position, his or hers, but in this case it says his, and it's identified as his, that this is somebody that violated him. And not everyone who's experiencing this sort of sexual trauma is immediately, the thought process is not, I should talk about this, I should tell someone. That's not where your head's at. It's a state of shock. It's very shocking. And people blame children and blame individuals who experience this and say, well, why didn't you say anything? If it could happen only, like he's saying, if it could happen in the same room, why would he feel entitled to think that there's something as wrong as what happened here that happened? It's an understanding that this person felt so comfortable to do it. There's likely fear there. There's a mechanism of fear there. This person's larger than me, forceful with me. What can I say? So, and just his mom wanting to know what's wrong. How do you put it into words? You're 7 years old. I don't know if the discussions like this came up in his household or in the person's household that the song is referring to, but likely you don't have the language for this. You don't have a full understanding for something that happens in this manner. So she's probably finding out now in the line to your show why you'll never trust a guy in a tie and a coat. So it's this like direct implication that even now I haven't said anything about this to anybody close to me. And that could be for a lot of reasons, especially as you grow older. Is this gonna inflict someone that I love with guilt for not having known what had happened? And you start to take on all of these other thoughts around it. Is it going to make people around me hurt knowing that this happened so close to where they are? Especially mothers and maternal figures carry different relationships to their children. There's a different form of protection that happens, and in a sense, not being able to emotionally protect your child while also physically being present and not being able to physically protect your child, it could come with a lot of pain, but it doesn't mean that it's not something worth talking about, not something worth saying, not something worth discussing. So here we go, is the pre-chorus. But you don't want to do what your daddy did. Bury it deep down, keep it under your skin. So you put pen to paper, made a verse of it, and you murdered it, and the chorus went. So again, we have this understanding that there's heavy implications of something happening to somebody that he loves. And I will say just he, for the sake of, it makes things easier. Despite, again, we're not alluding to the fact of it directly being him. Okay, so, but you don't want to do what your daddy did. Bury it deep down, keep it under your skin. This sort of pain gnaws at you, and it changes you. It truly changes you. When you experience a trauma of this level, it changes how you're able to access the world. It changes the way that you're able to interact with other people. And what he's saying is, I'm putting it down. I'm putting all of this, I'm getting it out of me because it doesn't deserve to live in me. And I'm killing that portion. So the chorus goes, you gotta kill somebody, to be who you wanna be. You gotta hit rock bottom to live through all the shit nobody believes. You're gonna hurt some people, but first, some people will thirst on watching you bleed, and that's when you know that you made it. You made it when you're hated. So, again, we have that ending line at the end of the first verse. She's probably finding out in the line to your show, where he's discussing his successes. He's discussing his successes hand in hand with this trauma that's happened to him. So he's he's showing you that he has his power. He sees where his power is in this of putting pen to paper, making the verse, murdering it. The chorus went, you know, and then now in these lines of the chorus, you've got to kill somebody to be somebody. You have to kill that old self, the old version of yourself, the portion that feels the shame around something that you didn't perpetrate, around something that you didn't do. To be who you want to be, you got to hit rock bottom, which, depending on how he means this, it could be that he got to a point where he was doing the things that he saw, as far as if you push something deep down, if you keep the lie for someone else, if you keep the pain for something like this, it destroys you. It kills you. And he has decided not to allow that to be his life, decided that that's not who he's going to be, which is beautiful. I love that. To live through all this shit, nobody believes, you're gonna hurt some people. But first, some people will thirst on watching you bleed. I've found in my own experiences of going through trauma and not having support that when you go through something like this and you have to build yourself alone, or you have to uncover and take care by yourself, who you authentically are and who you emerge from after you've hit rock bottom, after you've killed the old version of yourself, sometimes not everyone in your life will come with you to the heights that you're meant to reach. But as he said, that's when you know you've made it. You made it when you're hated. And I don't think in this sense, I mean, potentially it could be, I don't think in this sense necessarily it means in his successes as far as music, as far as acclaim, fame, anything like that. I think what he's saying is, now that I've become wholly myself, now that I have incorporated and released this, I might be hated, and that's okay. That's okay. And that's just so gorgeous. So we have verse 2 and verse 3 to go. So, verse 2. Fast forward, and before you know, the album's out. Crowds loud, sold out shows. Right now, as far as popular opinion goes, you're a posh, queer-baiting, indulgent asshole. Spits beer on the kids while infecting their ear holes. Mate, that's why you've been sent here, to fuck with the fearful. Out. F-boys on in the back of the vehicle, tracksuit, lipstick, got the Catholics tearful. So it's this journey for him. We're starting at 7 years old, we're fast forwarding, and now he's selling out shows, he's accumulated fame and acclaim, but with that still comes misunderstanding of our character. It becomes you're posh, queer baiting, indulgent, and to come from a place of already being what I can only imagine is deeply misunderstood, or feeling deeply misunderstood in your environment, especially when you don't feel that you're able to express something that is truly identity informing, you would be more sensitive to things like this. So I just want to apologize that you had to see and read those things about yourself. That's so, I don't think people really understand that someone being a public person doesn't negate the second half of that verbiage, which is person. You're a human, and if someone doesn't know you personally, it's easy to just say, don't think about it, don't worry about it, but I'm glad that you're reclaiming those words here and able to give a nod, say, just like, okay, sure. You're allowed to have whatever opinion, whatever perception of me, but it doesn't change the truth. Mate, that you've been sent here to F with the fearful. Tracksuits, I'm skipping down now, tracksuits, lipstick, got the Catholics. Tearful. He's saying, it's about this embodiment. He's coming out, and he's being fully him. And it might not look the way people want it to. It might not be perceived the way it's intended, even. But it doesn't stop that his mission now is to open minds, open hearts. And hey, given recent histories of, the Catholic Church, I don't know if this could honestly make them too tearful. Their own histories are pretty shameful. So you discussing what you're wearing, there's no shame in the things that you like, the things you enjoy, and the way you present yourself. So hope you know that as well. Verse 3, and this is the ending, and then we'll give a little mwah. So it goes, all right, you thought that was it? Nah, don't get cocky. We haven't even started yet. You go back and forth from your North American tour. Your sister can't even look at you. She won't open the door. The story you told was only partially yours. You outed her in a magazine. Who the F do you think you are? You forgot your family listens to the radio in the car. You're trying to be authentic, but you're taking it too far. You're messed up in the head. You effed up with your friends. Your family's upset. Which, oh no, we've got a bridge. Yeah, we've got a bridge. Sorry, right after this. So I'll do the bridge included. Bridge, don't call them. You forget. You say, I'm sorry, Jem, things are pretty crazy right now. She says, I love you, Dom, but I effing hate you right now. Understandable, and also, it's so good that in a song about showing that there needs to be accountability for something that has happened to him that's wrong, taking accountability for the ways that an unhealthy mind has caused you to impact negatively people in your life, and you're sharing that portion of, I'm not perfect in this. That is a well-rounded story, and I see you. I appreciate you. So that isn't it. You go back and forth from your North American tour. Your sister can't even look at you. She won't open the door. The story you told was only partially yours. So this leads me to believe that, also, I just have to say, I haven't looked into historical things regarding him, so if this is a story that needs a different interpretation, then that is what it is. But I'm just doing this blanketly off of what I'm reading. I take this to mean that in a song about abuse, and as a person who is very loudly queer, and I mean that as he is a self-identified pansexual, so gender fluid as well. So this particular phrasing could mean that he's outed someone who is close to him for her queerness. And in a song touching on violations, knowing that that is a violation of someone else, especially someone so close, thank you for your acknowledgement. Thank you for acknowledging that, because sometimes as people, I think we forget that despite whether or not someone is able to forgive, they still deserve apology. They still deserve to hear, "I'm sorry," because it lets them know that what it is that you've perpetrated was not right. It was not in good faith. It wasn't a decent action. So I'm seeing a lot of things here that I snap for. Who the F do you think you are? You forgot your family listens to the radio in the car. You're trying to be authentic, but you're taking it too far. You're messed up in the head. You effed up with your friends. Your family's upset. As a person that makes music, I understand that there is a certain artistic line that happens, especially when, as he's saying, he wants to be authentic. He has apparently felt most, if not all of his life, that he's not able to be himself, and now he's fully embodying that. And what does that mean? He took it to mean, I'm 100% truthful in all of my dealings. So that can go too far if you aren't careful in your phrasing and your understanding of boundaries for other people's privacy. Because where does my story meet their story, and how can I respectfully do this? It's a very tricky thing to manage, but I hope that at this time he's able to do that. So Yungblud, I will say again, thank you so much for your voice in this. Thank you so much for letting people know the things that have happened in your life. And I am a fan of your music, and I will say that a lot of what you write is so bone cutting, not even through the flesh. It's bone cutting because you're discussing a lot of things that people feel extremely uncomfortable talking about. And when there's that shadow there, when there is a wall there, and we're not able to truly talk about these things, they're perpetrated at greater amounts. People saying, I don't want to see that, doesn't mean it's not happening. People saying, I don't want to hear that, doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be heard. So thank you so much for saying this is a story that is worth hearing, because it is. It is. And you're opening up the doors to a lot of other people, men identified, individuals, masculine identified individuals, to be able to discuss these things openly, publicly, and hopefully without shame. So thank you. And I can't wait to hear more music from you. Okay, goodbye.